you also said that you wanted to go down some HVAC, starting your own company. You already had this kind of entrepreneurial mindset, which is awesome. Not a lot of people have, but you already said, "Hey, I want to start a company. I want to start a company, but I want to be rich." Right? I mean, why didn't you have that correlation of starting a company and being rich? Because I know there's a lot of people, and personally, a lot of people who start HVAC companies and are doing very well off. And have you thought about maybe going back to that, or why did you not pursue that even more?
So, yeah, knowing what I know now, I think any business, as long as it's profitable, is good. You don't necessarily have to go down real estate, right? But I think at the time, it wasn't what I was passionate about.
Gotcha. There it
You
is.
know? Yeah, I wasn't really passionate about HVAC and doing all that. I felt that I think also going back with Rich Dad Poor Dad, you have the four
Mhm.
quadrants. And so he talks about the business owner and investor. And at the time, I knew I wanted to be an investor.
Okay.
So I think that's what triggered me. So I wasn't really into the B quadrant. I was more into the I quadrant. I said, you know what? Whatever I do, I want to be an investor. And so when you think of HVAC, you probably don't think of HVAC investing. But when you think
Mm.
of real estate, you do think of real estate investing.
Okay. No, 100%. Okay, so you bought you bought these 3 books. It was $40. Now I know you've probably read a ton more after that. What was your first? And you just told us that you went into all this, all these groups, these mentors, these coaches, and that's where a lot of us get to where we're at today, and actually a very fast timeline. And you've been doing fantastic. What was your first course or thing that got you started?
So the first one that got me started was an unusual one. It was one of those free webinars by
Ty Lopez.
and
Okay.
Ty Lopez, yeah. And so I think it was like $500, and they talked about RIAs.
Mm.
So the RIAs was what actually got me started. So it was this guy Cole Hatter. He was talking about the and for RIAs, for anybody out there that doesn't know, it's Real Estate Investors Association. So they're local real estate meetings where you go and you network with other investors. So I thought, okay, let me look one up, and I looked one up, and there was actually one in the Coachella Valley. I
Mm.
never knew, and there was another one in an Empire Real Estate Investment Club that was about an hour away, and that was one of the first ones that I went to. I actually drove that hour to Riverside for the very first one because the one in the Coachella Valley wasn't until about a month later. So I was on it. I said, I got to go to this Riverside RIA, even though it's only an hour away. I mean, not only at the time, it was kind of a long drive, but looking back now, I would make that hour drive every month because I just wanted to get in there. So that was the first one, that first course. But I mean, I've done dozens of other courses or mentorships, but the very first one was that free webinar that led to a $500 course that led to the RIA.
You got him. You got you. So, Omar, how did you get your first deal? I know you're right here. You were in our backyard. I know you're in Florida now. Would love to talk to you more about that. But what did your first deal look like, and how did you even get your first deal? And tell me more about that.
Yeah, so my first deal actually was a mobile home. And
Oh
it
man.
was not a real estate deal. It was, well, at the time I thought it was a real estate deal, but as I started to educate myself, you begin to learn that mobile homes isn't real estate; it's private property. And it took me about 9 months to do that deal.
Hmm.
So I think I got the bug like in the summer of 18, and then I did my first deal around spring of 2019. And this deal was very, very unique. I tried to do wholesaling in the beginning. I drove for dollars. I picked up the phone. I did all that. I built up a little bit of a pipeline. And to answer your question from earlier, now that I remember, I think that the first course that actually cost me more money was TTP by Brent
There you
Daniels.
go.
Yeah, TTP by Brent
Gotcha.
Daniels. So
And I don't want to put it too much out there, but I mean, how much was it? Because I know that course, I know the price of the course, but tell us how much that course was to get you ahead? Because I just want to let people know, because the whole point of this podcast is, how are you doing consistent deals? Too many people struggle. Real estate agents, flippers, wholesalers, they do a deal here and there, but it's the consistency that I think is key.
Yeah. So that course was $4,000. It was $4,000. I think it's like $6,000 now, adjusted for inflation.
Did you have that money at that time? I know you were just going to college and you just
fell
off a tree.
I actually did have that money. I did have that money. So I pulled the trigger on it, and we'll get into this right now. I think at the time I didn't dive into that course as much as somebody else probably would have. You probably, I got a little impatient, and so that's where I went down the mobile home route. I thought that wholesaling might have been a little hard. So I did the course, I tried it, and I wasn't as consistent with it. And so I thought, man, I'm having a hard time getting my first deal. Let me try this mobile home. So there was also a crowd in these local real estate meetings that would do these mobile home deals. And I talked myself into doing a mobile home, because my frame of thinking was, okay, well, you know what? Let me collect a small win. And then I'll get some experience with mobile homes, and I'll work my way up into houses, into real estate. And so that first deal was actually a mobile home that I bought off of a different local mobile home investor. And I actually pulled that mobile home out of the mobile home park, and we transported it into a different mobile home park, like an hour away, where I then sold it there. I sold it on owner financing.
Oh, wow.
I'm still getting paid today. So actually my first deal was one where I didn't even make a profit in the beginning, because since I financed it, I was just recovering some of my money. I was just recovering a down payment, creating a note to finance the rest, where I'm still getting paid today on that note.